All right, for properties of exponents, make sure you guys have this chart, and I'm going to fill out examples on this side over here for each of these. This will be really helpful as you're going through properties of exponents. All right, so first up is product of powers. Notice that you're adding your exponents. So they've got the same base, okay, they both have x as the base, and then you add the exponents. So if I had x to the third times x to the fourth, I would add my 3 and my 4, and then it'd end up being x to the 7th. All right, next up is power of a power. Notice if there's parentheses, then you're going to be multiplying your exponents. So in this case, if I had x squared in parentheses and that was to the third power, then that would be x to the 2 times 3, which would then give me x to the 6th. Next up is power of a product. So if you've got two terms or two different variables in here, so x and y, and then on the outside of your parentheses you've got an exponent, that exponent applies to each of your variables on the inside. So in this case, if I had xy to the fourth, then that would end up being x to the fourth and y to the fourth. So we can't add our exponents together because they don't have the same base. So x and y are different. So that's as far as you can go. Next up is quotient of powers. Notice that you are going to subtract your exponents if you have the same base. So if I had x to the fifth divided by x squared, that would really be x to the fifth minus 2, which would give me x cubed. All right, next up is power of a quotient. So just like power of a power, or power of a product, then like here how both of them get that exponent, same with power of a quotient. So if I had xy and then parentheses, and that's all to the 6th power, that would give me x to the 6th over y to the 6th. All right, zero exponents, no matter what your base is, if it's a zero exponent, then it's going to be 1. So if I had y to the 0, it would be 1. Negative exponents flip your fraction pretty much. So like here, x to the negative m is really over 1 right here. So it really flips it and changes that to a positive exponent. So we can't have negative exponents. So in this case, if I had like x to the negative 4, that would give me 1 over x to the 4th. Or if I had 1 over x to the negative 3, that would give me x cubed. So I've got to flip it over to the top. All right, and then last up is rational exponents. Notice that the number on the top, so the numerator, it goes on the outside. The denominator is your superscript right here. So in this case, if I had x to the 2/3, that would give me the cube root of x squared. All right, now let's run through just a couple practice problems so you guys can see all of these properties in action. All right, so here we go. We've got 9w squared x to the 8th times 2w to the 6th x to the 4th. So when you're multiplying, remember these parentheses mean multiplying. So when you're going to be multiplying these, and I'm going to color code here, I'm going to multiply my numbers. So 9 times 2, which gives me 18. And then I'm going to multiply those that have the same base. So we've got w squared, w to the 6th. So that will be 2 plus 6 with our w. Remember, if you're multiplying, then you're adding those. So it'll give me w to the 8th. And then last up, we will have our x's. So that would be x to the 8th plus 4, which would then give me x to the 12th. And then that would be my answer. All right, our second example here, notice that we've got b's, c's, and f's. So I'm going to look at our b's first. Because it's division, remember you have to subtract your exponents. So in this case, it would be b to the 4 minus 4, which would be b to the 0. Remember, anything to the 0 power is 1. So I'm just going to simplify each of these as I'm going along. C and c, so I'd have c to the 6 minus 3, which would be c cubed. And then that's as simplified as that can go. So I'm just going to write c cubed down here. And then last up, we have f. So we've got f to the 8th, f to the 5th, which would give me 8 minus 5, which would be f to the 3rd, and that's as far as that goes as well. So my answer would be 1 times c to the 3rd, f to the 3rd. You don't really need to include the 1 if you don't want to, because 1 times anything is just itself. So I hope that this helps. Let us know if you guys have any questions on properties of exponents.